Hey, I'm It's Preacher Man R&B, and this is another movie reviews. And this week I'm reviewing Tactical Force, and it's continuing my Wrestlers Month, and this is another Stone Cold Steve Austin movie. And what Tactical Force is about the SWAT team, and Officer Tate, who is played by Stone Cold Steve Austin, is the captain of this team. And Jaleel White's in this movie as well, and he's a part of Officer Tate's team, and his name is Tony Hunt. There's two more officers that are in this team. There's a female officer and another male officer, and what happens is they are called to a grocery store holdup, and they go in and they get rid of the hostiles and injure some hostages. So the captain calls them in and suspends them without pay, and they're forced to go back to training to train in SWAT. That way they won't do what they did during that heist. And what happens is they go to this abandoned warehouse, but what they don't know is there's a Russian gang there and an Italian gang there, and there's this guy named Kenny, and he stole this item from the Russians and hid it in this warehouse, and the Italians are after it because the Russians stole it from them. So they're all in here, and then Officer Tate and his team drive up and put on the sirens just to play around, and the Russians and Italians hear this, and they go and hide, and Officer Tate and his team go in and go through their procedure because they got a setup up in the excuse me, for the second floor, and they're going through this training that way to get back on the force. And they start shooting their targets and stuff, and the two gangs down below is trying to figure out what's going on. And then they get into a fight downstairs, and Officer Tate and them hear them, so Officer Tate gets the other male officer that I can't remember his name to go down there. And he goes down there and checks it out and tells whoever's down there they need to leave because they're having a training session until 2. And that's then the two gangs come out and they shoot this guy and kill him. And Officer Tate and them hear the gunshot, so they go down and they find out that these guys are here, and they start shooting at Officer Tate and them, and then they go and they close the door behind them and lock the door so the two gangs can't get to them. And the gangs are trying to figure out how to get to them, and they go outside and start shooting at the windows of the second floor, and Officer Tate and them at the gun line of fire. So then the Russians call for some backup, and they get some more Russians in their gang, and they try to figure out how to get up there. So they get a ladder and they go up to where the windows were shot out. And when they go in there, Officer Tate and Officer Hunt and the female officer kill these Russians, and then they get down, try to go back down to the door while everybody is outside. Kenny's tied up in the van in the SWAT car, and Officer Tate gets out and goes to the SWAT car and gets his equipment, and then let Kenny out, and they run back to the door. Then the two gangs start shooting at them, and they get back in the door, and that's when the Italians call for their backup. And one of the head guy for the Italians backup is Hugh Chardin, the UFC fighter. And it doesn't say his character's name on the movie. So he finds a way to get in there through this tunnel, and during this, Kenny is showing Officer Tate and them the same tunnel, and they go and they're trying to get out, and then Hugh Chardin gets his team in there, and they go on one side and the Italians go on the other and pull them into this tunnel. And they get the SWAT team out and tell them where the item is, and they tell them, and then the head Italian tells his second in command to go in there and get the item, and then he shoots Kenny. Or what the SWAT team doesn't know is Kenny's an FBI agent, and the head Italian's in on this, so it makes it look like Kenny's dead, and we find out at the end of the movie that Kenny really ain't dead, and that really ain't Kenny's name. And then going on in the movie, the Italians get the item for the cops and about to kill them, and then the Russians show up and stop that, and then the Russians are about to kill him, or that they it's the other way around. And then Q Charding comes in, and there's a big fight between Officer Tate, who's Stone Cold Steve Austin, and Q Charding in this movie. And Stone Cold winds up killing Q Charding's character, and they kill everybody except for 3 people, the 2 Russians and the head Italian guy that was in on this FBI arrangement. And at the end of the movie, Officer Tate and his team is talking to their captain, and this is when they find out that he was FBI agent, and the head Italian was a part of this whole deal. And that's all that really happened in this movie. If y'all ever watched Tactical Force, y'all tell me what y'all like about this movie. As always, preaching and all of this, and I'm not going to